Spring Mobile on your Monday morning. So I just want to talk just candidly about some things that are coming in. Now, for those of you that joined us last night, I really appreciate it. I do want to kind of give you a chance to get in, but I want to start pretty quickly here. And I just want to kind of get in and get out, and I'm not a personality who says, I told you so. I don't consider myself of that faction or trying to convey a message as such. However, we talked about last night, I've talked about my concerns about the Matrix and those who, and not saying you guys or anyone, that maybe even, I'm not saying that you guys follow me or that I'm not your leader, you don't act and think like me. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that we've lost sight of, we very quickly lose sight and end right back up in the Matrix. Like, you just, with everything that's going on in terms of, with whether it's economy, supply chain, breakdowns, the infringement on the 2A, the riots, the crises after crises, the beginning of one crisis coming from the end of another crisis. We talked about exploitation, and I was saying that was my concern, because people went very quickly from saying that many people recognized right away that the 2A was actually what's on trial, the right to self-defense. And that's what I have maintained, I think, since the beginning of this trial. And of course, beyond the conclusion, I still think that's the broader cause. But I also talked about how quickly you can see people go from an acquittal, a celebration of an acquittal, or a sigh of relief that the Second Amendment still stands, to, oh, let's see how fast we can make him a millionaire, how fast we can get him paid. Oh, he's going to be a millionaire. Oh, let's make him a millionaire. And we've gone from that to, I've seen photos of him cozied up with Republicans. Was it Kimberly Guilfoyle? I've seen him cozied up with these people, and now it's already started. So I'll tell you that this is the premise. The premise of this particular stream is it's already happening, because allegedly, and I've heard the audio clip. I'd be happy to share this with you guys, that Tucker Carlson has apparently did an actual interview with Rittenhouse, and the point of contention is that Rittenhouse said in this interview that he actually supports BLM. And OMG, have you seen the conservatives' heads fly? You see people's heads fly off. Granted, this is an 18-year-old kid, okay? He's got baby fat on his face, okay? He still does. But he's somehow it's like, because he has said something that he may have to recant later in his life, but he's 18, right? He's got time to grow. But it just seems like, because you've got these MAGAs out here, these people are attacking Tucker Carlson, saying, well, why would Tucker Carlson record him saying and release it, record Rittenhouse saying that he actually supports BLM? Well, he shouldn't do that. Tucker Carlson shouldn't do that, because that's exploiting him, and he's going to be, if he has to recant that statement when he gets older, he's going to be called a racist. And I'm just saying, this was what my concern was at the beginning. The minute you start putting a price tag on the greater cause, which I maintain is the cause of liberty, is the minute that we've already lost. We're back in the Matrix again with everything that's going on. Okay? You're putting a price tag on not only what this kid went through, but you've also put a price tag on the cause of liberty. Now, that is my argument, and that is what I'm trying to maintain, and it's happening. You've got people that are upset with Carlson for playing this clip, playing this interview that he did with Carlson. Personally, I think because the kid's 18, I think you need to get out of sight and get out of the way, because there's all kinds of people that are going to be trying to exploit this kid. What are they going to do? What are the Republicans going to do? Dangle him in front of the Democrats like they did Paula Jones against Bill Clinton, and then he ends up on a celebrity show? these people are disgusting, and I'm telling you that goes for all factions. That goes for all factions. Whatever flag you want to claim you're under, that's exactly why I have maintained, even for myself, that you can have conservative values, you can have whatever values you want, but you don't have to pledge allegiance to anybody, because no one is perfect. But exploitation to me is exploitation. I don't care whether you think you're a Republican or a Democrat. It's hypocrisy. It's very much hypocrisy. If the thing is, and this particular conservative was saying, well, he's actually a MAGA, big time MAGA person. He says, well, if Kyle Rittenhouse supports BLM, then he's got all these supporters. They're not going to support him anymore. Well, damn it, so be it. He's 18 years old. If he can be forgiven everything else, why can't he be forgiven for saying he supported BLM? He's 18. Hey, you got grown people that say they support BLM. You got people of the black community that maintain that they support BLM. And they've been around a hell of a lot longer on this earth than this kid. So if you could forgive him for being a kid and having some misjudgments on one end, well, surely you can forgive him for that, right? Or are you just mad because you're not going to be able to dangle him in front of the Democrats for whatever leverage you might want to have? And this is why I'm saying this is absolutely disgusting. I could say I feel sorry for this kid, but I also think it's also like, it just kind of goes back, at 18, we're still not dealing with a fully developed adult, somebody that has a perspective, and the discernment. We're not. And I find it's appalling what's happened in this situation. But they're like vultures, they're like parasites and leeches, just ready to pick this kid up to use him for whatever. So what? For all the people, let's make him a millionaire. He's going to be a millionaire, and his mom can't survive off of this. Well, I tell you what, he will be exploited, ladies and gentlemen, before he becomes a millionaire. That is what I maintain. He will be exploited by the Republicans, conservatives, MAGAs, whoever. He'll be exploited by whoever thinks that they can gain some leverage off of his story and his situation before he probably ever gets a dime. And if these MAGAs or whoever, these conservative, thinks he's foobarred himself by saying he supports BLM at 18, then so be it. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Like I said, this was what I was concerned about. But I also think I've been around enough parents, whether I'm a parent or not, to know what not to do. And I think he should have pumped the brakes on taking interviews from anybody. You got vultures. I mean, he could be psychologically damaged not only from what he went through, but he can also be psychologically, damaged from politicians and pundits, and he can be damaged in many ways. They're not done with him. This is not over. I've heard all this, these offers of these internships and this and that and the third. This kid's probably going to lose his mind before he figures out, before he's had a chance to let all the dust settle on what's happened to him. I actually cannot believe, and I'm not passing judgment on Tucker Carlson, but I couldn't believe there's already an interview out there. And I'm just thinking, I don't know, maybe him and his mom, maybe they're not upper middle class, maybe they're lower middle class, whatever. We are all, practically, peasants and servants under what we're dealing with right now with our government, the way that it is, or that it has been in many ways. But I would just think that she would just have a little bit more discernment for him, and just be really, get him in a program in which he's out of the way. Don't let him keep running out here and letting people exploit your son. Is it traumatic enough? Yes. So let's just not make it worse. And like I said, I mean, I could go down a list of people. Oh, well, I'm disappointed in this one. I'm not disappointed. I'm not really disappointed in any people from, from in politics or these pundits or these influencers, because it's like, to me, that's their angle as well. They have an angle as well, even if they know. Even if they know that there's evil and things going on, they're still, for ratings, for views, they're gonna do whatever they want. They're gonna say whatever they need to say to keep their own platforms and their own paywalls going. And I just, like I said, I just find that this is why I never pledged allegiance to any of these factions, because it's really not about you at the end of the day. These people don't care about Kyle Rittenhouse. They don't care about me, and they don't care about you either. It's all about what they can get politically, what they can get, what they can leverage. But like I said, I think he will be extremely exploited before he sees a dime. If he thinks he's doing this for his family because they went through this experience with him, it is still going to be a long road. And you basically, at this point, get out of the way. But see, this is the other thing, this whole narrative, I can't help but think about the Charlottesville situation. There was mob activity going on in that, in which a white person died, but they still kept making it about, they still keep the narrative going. They still want to maintain that it's about black people. And I'm telling you, I have just had, some of these people are just lost. Or some people are just incompetent. Some people are. I think we all just have to wake up and see, not just wake up, but you have to search for the truth, or you have to look at everything before you just before you come in hot with your emotions. But that's what a lot of people are leading with. And so I've just chosen, I'm sick of people on both sides of this argument. I think a lot of people have kind of gotten a bad taste in their mouth on politics, because we realize it is a game. It is a matrix. It is selling hope for the status quo, and it keeps wrapping us back in there. But I find it to be a damn shame for any faction to be swaying or trying to influence this kid into, it's just like, oh, come over here to our side. And yeah, it was the saddest thing. That was kind of the crux for what I was on about last night, but I'm already seeing it. So we'll see what happens in a couple of months, I guess. But they're not going to stop talking about this. There'll be more attacks, and the crises will continue. I mean, we're coming up on a holiday, and by Christmas, who knows? I mean, you got this Ahmaud Arbery case going on. We're talking about exploitation, so let's talk about it a little bit. I've heard that they've been literally dragging the Reverend Jesse Jackson around. He can't stand up. He's basically, I'm not going to say he's in a vegetative state, but they basically drug him from street to street. Elderly abuse, exploitation, it's all pretty shitty to me. I normally don't go into explicatives on this channel, but it is what it is. And I want to thank you guys. Let's see who's here. We have Marcy T is here. Hi, Marcy T. She says it's a psyop 100%. It's so fugly here. And Nick Smith, how are you doing? Thank you so much. And Joseph Francis Burton says, I'm not surprised. Some news outlets was interviewing one of the prosecution before the trial was even over. Publishers are already fighting for a book deal. That's what I'm saying, that's why this is the thing. If I never have any success with these platforms or anything, I just don't want to be, I never wanted to get to the point in which that I lost sight of the cause just so that I could advance myself or advance my own agenda. I never wanted to do that. Not to anyone. I mean, for instance, I had what's his name, Joe Collins on. He was running in 43rd district against Maxine Waters, and I think he's going to run again, but there's been some redistricting in that area. But I'm just saying, can people not see that as long as we support the status quo and as long as we keep falling into the hope that nobody's really winning. We're not preserving the greater cause in this. We're just getting wrapped back into what got us here in the first place. And I think it's a distraction bigger than anything. But I'm wondering if the outrage of this horrible situation with the Christmas parade, and is it Waukesha, Wisconsin? I'm just wondering what's the narrative going to be on that. Oh, because this guy was traumatized over the outcomes. I've heard everything from people there's people that are demanding, the blacks get days off from work from this thing. I'm so sick of all the subterfuge. It's pretty amazing. It really is. And I just want to thank you guys, per usual, for coming in. Marcy T says any excuse will do. So yeah, I do these little morning. This has kind of turned into a rant, right? Let's see. We have Joseph Francis Burton, who says the corporate news media is the enemy, including right-wing outlets. They are all standard bearers of political dogma. Screw them all. There you go, Joseph Francis Burton. I'm saying I don't know. I just think that it's like they're upset because they cannot control. This kid he's entitled to some mistakes. He will be forgiven for saying that he supports BLM. Yeah, he will be forgiven. He has to be, because otherwise we would all be doomed, right? That's the worst. That's the worst thing he can do, I'm just like, and it just kind of makes me want to shut off. Like, I don't want to deal with any of these people. I just don't. So what if he won't get the support from the MAGAs, or so what? He's 18. I don't know if he's in it. I don't know if he's in it for the money right now. I don't know if his mother is driving him. It could be his mother is influencing him to say, hey, go out and do as many interviews as you want. He wasn't asked if he supported BLM, but he wasn't asked, but he volunteered that information. Well, at 18, we've all said we all had a perspective that we might look at a little differently right now. We all have, but I'm just thinking, for that party to be, for the values that many conservatives say that they have, I find it more than hypocritical. You are not so forgiving. You are not so strong. You are not all these things. You are a lot of things, but you're not without fault. You're not without, you're being exploitive too, but you're trying to be. It's like they're treating this kid like a pet, like, pet him on the head. He's 18, and but he just said something really bad, and we might take all of our support away from him. So is he going to survive being 18? Yeah, he just may not have it. He just may not be a millionaire. He may not on this. He may not get the book deals. And I told you guys last night, I find it interesting that especially many Christians, if I grew up with the sticks and stones kind of a mentality. I mean, I grew up telling my grandmother about people that called me names, and she would say, well, did it hurt you? I'd say, no, ma'am. Okay, well, carry on. It didn't hurt you. They can say whatever they want. And then I thought somebody else would say, well, honey, they talked about Jesus. So, like, who are you? You can't be called a name. You can't let it roll off your back. Let it roll. I mean, I've been called things as an adult. I mean, some people right now will probably call me a coon because I do think the kid was defending himself. And I who cares? They may say, oh, you want to be white. Oh, well, you're a coon. Oh, well, you are an uncle. You're a bit of an Uncle Tom. Or I had some students to tell me that once when I was teaching high school. They say, oh, yeah, you're somewhat of an Uncle Tom, a UT. They'd put it that way. You're somewhat of a UT, and at the time I didn't really, I wasn't picking up, I wasn't aware of the amount of the tensions, that even at a young age, kids are indoctrinated with these things. But look how it's perpetuated. It's all around. It's readily available. And look at the news media. All they do is stoke the fire every day, all day. You got some radio stations in this country, that's all they talk about are white people all day long. I couldn't teach in that school district anymore for those reasons. But who cares? You got to be able to deal with sticks and stones, whether they call you a white supremacist, whether they call you a coon, whether they call you a racist. Well, just because they say it, does that make it true? I mean, and then the other thing, the other philosophy, well, if the shoe fits, to me, it speaks more to, it's like, are you offended because there's some portion of it that may be true? What is going on? Why are people, the leftists talk about, conservatives talk about the leftists being triggered, but are you not being triggered? But many of you say that, that you're of the Christian faith. Okay, but why are you so triggered by something that you know that you're not? If you know that you're not, if you don't live your life that way, if you're leading your life by example, what damn difference does it make? They're triggering you. They've got you. They're controlling you. So, and that's why I'm saying maybe Kyle Rittenhouse is already playing the game. I better say I support BLM right now because they're going to call me. But they're already calling him. They're already calling him a white supremacist. Okay, they're already doing it. And at that, I'm going to come to a close. So I thank you guys for tuning in on the Black Spring Mobile. Yeah, thank you for coming in on the Black Spring Mobile, and I hope you guys have a great Monday. And I don't know, I think maybe I'll unplug for a little bit because like I said, I'm not of an I told you so kind of an ilk, but I can see just exploitation, and I can see some people might even lose their shirt because they said the wrong thing. Joseph Francis Burton says, damn it, BSWA, you're making me late for work again. No, don't be late for work. I got to get out of here and get my work day started too. So I appreciate you guys, and love to you, Marcy T. And stay tuned. I'm still working on the preppers potluck and Please send me an email if you want to exchange some ideas, if you want to come on, if you have something that you just want to present, if you want to send me a story, that's fine to do as well. I joined you guys on the live last night. But thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Marcy T says, I'm crazy in my family and people, LOL. And thank you so much, Nick Smith. But I appreciate you guys. So yeah, so I'm going to be looking, by the way, I'm going to look for this interview with Tucker Carlson. But we've seen these things time and time again. We've seen, you're going to be used. You're going to be dangled. You're going to be exploited. That seems to be the end of the status quo, right? Win a case, you're everybody's ready to pounce. All right, guys, have a great Wednesday, and I will see you guys later.